Esau had hatred and bitterness between them is an understatement. And one of the reasons I love the Bible, I love that the Bible's raw. I love that we get the real story. One of the reasons I trust the Bible, by the way, because God just puts it all out there. And this story, like Jacob and Esau, belongs on Dr. Phil, honestly. Dr. Phil's story, like, who's right? Was it Isaac? Was it Rachel? Was it Rebecca? Who's right? Who's wrong? Listen last weekend to catch up. But what's going on? Esau is the older of the twin brothers. He comes out first. Jacob comes out hanging on his heels. And from the very beginning of this relationship, twin brothers, there is conflict. The conflict started when Esau actually sold his birthright to Jacob. For lunch. For lunch, he sells his birthright. And then later on, as we looked at last week, and Jacob steals the blessing of Esau because Rebecca gets involved. And it's all this mess. When I read the Bible, often I go like this. How can God be glorified in the mess? And it reminds me that's what the gospel is all about, right? And so we got this hatred, we have this anger, and here's where we left last week. We left it where Esau going like this. Esau says, my dad is think about the anger and the hatred. Jump into the story. Esau says, my dad is about to die. Isaac is about to die. When he dies, then I will, say out loud, then I'll pray for my brother. No! Then I will talk to my brother. No! Esau says, and this is where we left it last weekend. When my dad dies, I am going to get revenge. I'm going to kill the sucker. That's what he says. And if you have a brother, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to kill him. Often, again, with Bible study, we kind of remove the emotions, but think about the emotions here. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to respect the fact my dad needs to die first, which is warped all by itself, by the way. And then I'm going after him. Pause here. Fast forward 20 years. The brothers haven't talked. The anger has just continued to get embittered inside of Esau and Jacob. And what happens here is all of a sudden Jacob has this revelation. Jacob that says, I need to go back. And it doesn't take much revelation, brother. I need to go back and make it right with my brother. 20 years of anger. 20 years of bitterness. He has no idea, like Esau, like where he's at in this emotional journey. He says, I need to make it right with my brother. So what Jacob does, he sends messengers and he sends gifts ahead of himself to give to Esau. And he gets word that Esau, here's the story, is coming your way, Jacob. Esau's coming your way. And by the way, he has 400 fighting men. 400 fighting men. We're going to jump into the story right there. What happens is Jacob gets alone before Esau shows up, and he spends the evening alone with God. Before he faces the fury, the anger, the bitterness of Esau, what Jacob does, he was left alone, and he wrestled with God till daybreak. Like all night, Jacob gets into this wrestling match with God. Now let me tell you often. I'll tell you why often we can't reconcile a relationship, because we have not been with God first. And what's going on here is so powerful. He actually wrestles with God and calls him a man, but later on we learn that this is deity, that somehow God and Jacob have this wrestling match. And it says here in the next text, it says this, that the man couldn't overpower him. So he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, so that the hip was wrenched as he wrestled with the man. This is awesome, by the way. This is one of the moments of the Bible where you go, well, that's kind of cool. Is that now Jacob literally got into this wrestling match with God. God broke him, literally, in a literal way. And for the rest of his life, Jacob walked around limping. Limping because he had been with God. How many will thank God that's not how God meets all of us, right now, right? Can you imagine going, I'm a limping church. Yeah, I limp all the time. No, what's going on is that he was broken. And I think the metaphor, the lesson here, is often God has to break us before he can actually use us. Often, here's the deal. Here's what happens. You know why we get arrogant? You know why I'm right, you're wrong? You know why we get, come on, right? Because we're not walking around with a limp. We're not walking around with humility. We're not walking around with character. We're actually walking around looking for a fight. And I'm going to use the Bible. You're wrong, I'm right. All of a sudden, Jacob has this moment. And for the rest of his life, he walked with a limp, reminding himself that he'd been with God. I love what A.W. Tozer said about this. He said, never trust a Christian leader, or I would say never trust a person who does not walk with a limp. Oh, I meet them all the time. They walk like they're right. They don't have the character or the humility. Listen to me. If you walk around with arrogance in your life, and I'm a know-it-all, and I'm right, and everyone else is wrong, and it doesn't matter what you do, I'm right. I'm the chosen one. Jacob was the chosen one in this story. But at this moment, something so transformed Jacob because he'd been in the presence of a living God. Now he's walking with a limp. He's walking with humility. The man said in this wrestling match, the man said, let me go, for it's daybreak. God said, let me go, it's daybreak. I need to go. But Jacob replied, I won't let you go until you bless me. God, I'm not going to let you go until you intervene into my situation, until you're glorified, until you're honored, until you do something, until you bless me. Come on, we need some persistence in the body of Christ. Some of us give up way too soon. Man, we pray for something once, and then it's like, God didn't answer my prayer, we're on another conversation. We need to get to a place where we're persistent. And Jacob's going, I need to hear from God. I need God to intervene on my behalf. And I'm not going to give up God until you do what you said you're going to do. Come on, everybody. Some of us have given up, and we're like wimps, honestly, spiritually. Jacob's going, I'm going to fight. I'm not going to let go. Don't let go, God, until you show up, until you bless me. I'm not going to let go. And so the man says, God says, okay, tell me your name. He said, Jacob, he answered. Here, Jacob means liar, deceiver. He calls it out. He says, Jacob, I'm a liar, I'm a deceiver. Jacob, he answered. And what happens? The man said this. Actually, God says, your name will no longer be called Jacob. You no longer, come on, you got to get this. You're no longer going to be called deceiver and liar, but now you're going to be called Israel, meaning God prevails. You wrestled with God. God won the championship. God prevails in your life now. Your name is going to be changed. And literally here, I believe spiritually, God has to change our character, our substance, where we're no longer acting like a liar, a deceiver, but now I'm going to act like one that believes that God prevails in my life. Because I'll tell you why some of us don't get along with anyone. We've never really allowed God to change really help us walk with a limp, walk with humility, walk with character, walk under the authority of God. He says, now your name will be called Israel because you have struggled with God. You have struggled and you have overcome. And it says this. And here's what happens in this story. So watch as a story for a moment. Enjoy it. Here's Jacob. He's at this moment crying out to God. He looks up. He looks up, and what it says, Jacob looks up, and there was Esau. Now, this is a great cliffhanger. Like commercial right now, right? Because there's Esau, here's Jacob. Come on, he just wrestled with God. He looks up, he goes like this. Oh, dear mercy, here comes my brother. With 400 fighting men. What a great cliffhanger. Some of the time we read the Bible way too quickly. Enjoy it. Jacob's going, dear God, let me go back to prayer, right? That's what he's going like. He's going, let me go back to prayer, let me go back. He looks up and there's Esau with 400 men coming his way. So and what Jacob does, he is so scared, he divides up his family. You go here, you go here. Maybe Esau will only kill half of us. The narrative's there. He walks, there he is, wrestling with God, and now he has to face the bitterness. Now he has to face his brother, Esau. And I love what goes on here because what is so powerful, I think, is a beautiful, dynamic picture of the gospel story. because Esau comes in, and we don't know where Esau was. I believe probably, maybe from my perspective, Esau was ready to fight, ready to go to battle. But even Jacob does something that is so powerful. Jacob comes up and it says this. He bowed down, think about this, to his brother. He's supposed to be the one, he's the chosen one, but he bows down to his brother. He literally goes to his brother 7 times and shows his brother respect and honor and favor. Matter of fact, more than that, read the text. He said, hey, I want my family, I want my kids, I want Leah, and I want Rachel. Come on, I want you all to bow. Esau is in the house, and we're all going to show him respect, and we're going to bow together. Now, come on. Really? Come on, think about that. If it was you, Jacob, you'd just been with God, and now Esau's coming. Come on, what would we do? Here's what I would have done. I would have said, hey, Esau, here's what I would have done. You ate the soup. I just offered it to you. That's called a Bible joke right there, right? That's what I would have done. Here's what we do. You're the one. We point fingers. You should have. You ate the soup. I just gave it to you, and you ate it. Or here's what I would have. God told Mom I would carry on the family name. What's your problem? Here's what we do. It's unbelievable to me how someone can claim to be a Christian, then use God's name to rationalize why you're being an idiot. We do it all the time. I go like this. Man, when I read some of that Facebook stuff, I'm going, stop! At least don't admit that you're at New Life. Come on, everybody, right? Like we use the Bible, we use God as an excuse to be an idiot. Amen. And this is what Jacob could know. Well, God told Mom, come on, it was God's fault, Mom's fault. Or well, here's a classic line. It was Mom's idea. She's the one that told me to dress up and tease Dad, not tease and trick him. But what does he do? He bows. In today's terminology, let's apply that. He apologizes. We probably shouldn't bow. That would be weird, right? We're the bowing church. Okay, no, that would be weird. That's a custom of the day. But maybe we ought to humble ourselves with a limp. Walking with a limp and going, man, I'm a sinner just like you. I've screwed up. And I need God's mercy. I'm sorry. Maybe we don't try to demand I'm right, you're wrong. I'm the chosen one, and Mom, all that stuff. We just go, Esau, I want a relationship with you. This next part, if this was like a movie, a script, and I was watching it, I'm the type of person, Warning, have you ever seen me in a movie theater? I can cry just like that. I don't cry in real life, but when I'm watching a movie, I just like start dying. Seriously, I embarrass my wife all the time. At this moment, I would be weeping because the music would change in the drama, in the story. The music would change, and what you would see is this, Esau running to his brother. And perhaps if it was a movie, you would see the reviewing of the soup and the selling of the birthright and the blessing. You'd see all these negative things, and you would see, I'm trying to, for a moment, be an artist and paint the picture. You see Esau running to his brothers. You see all these there's all this reasons why the bitterness is there. And Esau comes to him, and he meets Jacob, and he embraces him, and he throws his arms around him, and then he kisses him. And that's the custom of that day. He literally takes his brother, and for a moment, it's not about the birthright. It's not about the blessing. It's not about the years of anger. It's not about who's right, who's wrong. I'm going to kiss you. And together they wept